All right, today we're going to unpack a really powerful idea that's changing how young kids learn. We're diving deep into the core philosophy of the International Baccalaureate's Primary Years Program. You've probably heard it called the PYP, and its truly unique approach to education. You know, it all starts right here with this mission. And it's a big one, right? The goal isn't just about acing tests. It's about shaping young people who can actually go out and help create a better, more peaceful world. So you have to ask, how in the world do you pull off such an ambitious mission, especially with young kids? Well, the PYP's answer is pretty fascinating. It involves looking at learning in a completely different way. Just think about it for a second. A little kid on a walk in the park doesn't see a biology lesson here and a physics experiment there. No, they see it all at once. The birds, the trees, the way a ball falls. It's one big, connected experience. And the PYP framework is built to honor that natural, holistic worldview. And what that really means is we have to move past the traditional idea of building walls between different subjects. We're going to explore what it really looks like to learn beyond the old boundaries of math, science, and history. And here it is, the key concept, transdisciplinary learning. Now, look closely at that definition. The subjects don't just disappear. Instead, they become tools, awesome resources that help us explore real-world ideas. They're not the containers anymore. They're the ingredients. Okay, but that's the big question, isn't it? All this can sound a little, well, abstract. So let's break it all down with a simple and honestly kind of delicious analogy that's going to make everything click. Get ready, because we're talking about a salad, a stew, and a cake. Seriously. This little food analogy is the perfect way to understand three very different ways of thinking about knowledge. Okay, so here's the rundown. You've got multidisciplinary, that's our salad. Then there's interdisciplinary, that's the stew. And finally, transdisciplinary, which is the heart of the PYP, and that's our cake. Let's dig into each one. First up, the salad. So imagine a project on, say, ancient Rome. In a multidisciplinary approach, you'd get your history lesson, then a separate math lesson on Roman numerals, then an art class on mosaics. They're all in the same bowl, the topic is Rome, but you can still clearly point to the lettuce, the tomato, the cucumber. The subjects stay separate. Next, we've got the stew. This is interdisciplinary learning. Here, things start to blend a little, you know? The flavors mix. The history of Rome might directly influence an engineering project where kids build an aqueduct. The subjects are talking to each other, but you can still kind of pick out the carrot and the potato. The lines are starting to blur. And that brings us to the cake, the real goal of the PYP. In transdisciplinary learning, those individual ingredients, your math, your science, your art, your language, they are completely transformed. You can't separate the flour from the eggs anymore, can you? They've combined to create something entirely new and wonderful, a rich, deep, and integrated understanding of a big idea. So, if the goal is to bake this amazing cake of understanding, what's the recipe? How does it actually work? Let's take a look at the framework the Primary Years Program uses to make it all happen. So the whole framework stands on three main pillars, and I want you to notice what's right at the very top, the learner. The student's own curiosity, their questions, their journey, that's the central focus. And it's all supported by great teaching and the entire community getting involved. And all this learning is organized around 6 huge, globally significant themes. Things like who we are and how the world works. These aren't subjects. They're massive, timeless ideas that students get to explore again and again, year after year, each time going deeper. And what's the point of all this? The cake, the framework, the themes? Well, it's all designed to nurture a specific set of human qualities. The goal isn't just to have a student who knows a bunch of stuff, but a student who is a certain kind of person. For starters, to be an inquirer. You know, to really feed that natural curiosity. To learn how to ask great questions, do research, and just love learning for its own sake. To be caring. This is huge. It's about showing empathy and respect and feeling a real commitment to making a positive difference in the lives of others and in the world around them. And to be a risk taker. Now, we're not talking about physical risks, but intellectual ones. Having the confidence to tackle new things, to explore new ideas with courage, even when you're not sure what the outcome will be. And here they are, all 10 attributes of the IB learner profile. This is the end game, from inquirers and thinkers to being principled and reflective. You see, the whole point is to develop well-rounded, compassionate, and active citizens of the world. So where does this all lead? There's actually a final capstone experience where students get to show off everything they've learned and everything they've become. It's called the exhibition. In their final year of the program, students team up to do a really deep investigation into a real-world issue that they actually care about, that they choose themselves. It's the ultimate proof of their skills. It's their masterpiece cake, if you will. And it really works. Research shows that families see the impact firsthand. They recognize that the exhibition gives their kids actual real-world skills that are going to help them way beyond the classroom in life. Which brings us right back to our analogy and leaves us with a final thought to chew on. What possibilities could open up if we stopped seeing knowledge as a bunch of separate ingredients in a bowl and started seeing it as a process of transformation? You know, how might our world really change if we all learned to think a little less like a salad and a whole lot more like a cake?